Right, so hopefully you can all hear me. This is a little bit of a left field one today. Not a Lambretta in sight, not a Vespa in sight. This is going to be my first attempt at a vlog. I've done a few little pieces on my mobile phone of our scooter club tours and trips around Europe and the UK, and I quite enjoyed it, to be honest, so I figured that I might actually try and do it a little bit more often. Anyway, left field though it is. Why is that? Well, as you can see, I'm not on a scooter. No Lambretta today, no Vespa today. I'm on a Suzuki SV650S. Why, I hear you ask? Well, that's the theme of today's rant and ramble. So, about a year ago, one of the lads in the club announced that he was going to celebrate turning 60, not this summer but next summer, and as you may or may not know, we regularly have little European jaunts on the scooters and travel around sort of France and Belgium, Holland, well, you know, we've travelled to Guernsey, to Jersey, to Brittany. You know, we get ourselves about, we have a good time, we enjoy each other's company, and we all love riding the scooters. But he wanted for his sort of bucket list to do something perhaps a little bit further afield. You know, when you've got 18, 19, 20, 1960s two-stroke vehicles travelling around, there is invariably a lot of stop-start, a lot of breakdowns, a lot of petrol fill-ups. You know, it just wonderfully, but it just takes a long time to get anywhere. So he announced that he was going to buy a motorcycle and plan to ride it to down the coast of Portugal, all the way to the bottom, and as we were sitting there that evening on our pub meet, a few other people said, well, I fancy that, and I fancy that, and I fancy that. And before you know it, there was 8, 9, 10 club members, all with jumping on board and wanting to get involved in that. I wanted to jump on board and get involved in that too, but to be honest, I think I've spent so much on Vespas and Lambrettas over the years that stepping into the motorcycle market would have been would have broken the bank, let's put it that way, as well as the patience of Mrs. Snappy, who is unbelievably patient when it comes to anything Lambrettas or Vespas. So, with everybody turning up week after week with a new bike, or a slightly older bike perhaps, but a new bike for them, the bug really sort of caught on. And I was sitting at home one night and I thought to myself, well, if I can't afford to buy one, I just wonder if there's any competition sites out there on the internet. Yeah, I know that sounds a little bit like clutching at straws, but if there's any competition sites out there on the internet where I might be able to get a bit lucky perhaps, and win myself a motorcycle. Well, apparently there are, and you can. So to put it simply, I did a bit of Trustpilot research and bits and pieces, and I found this site, this wonderful site called the Competition Company, and I went through the process of signing up, creating an account, had a look around what they had to offer, and I stumbled across this rather nice looking, if I say so myself, rather nice looking Royal Enfield Bullet 500 ES. You'll have to excuse my descriptions, I'm not really very knowledgeable about the motorcycle side of things. Anyway, there was I looking at this, £2.99 a ticket. Not too many tickets up for grabs, I can't remember now, but I have a feeling it was around about 800 or 899, I can't remember now, but it was, in terms of competition odds, it wasn't too bad. So I bought a ticket, didn't think anything of it, sitting around watching the telly that evening, that same Thursday evening, and the phone rings, and it's this really lovely guy called Will from the Competition Company, or the Classic Competition Company. Oh, I'm pleased to say you've won a motorcycle. I couldn't believe it. So here's me, motorcycled up, and he was true to his word. He said, let me give you a call tomorrow morning, and we'll sort out a delivery time for you. Anyway, within a few days my motorcycle turned up, and it was lovely. So I rode it, I tried to ride it a few times, obviously with that particular model, the gear changes on the right hand side, the clutch on the left hand side, the brake on the left hand side, the front brake on the right hand side, and to be honest, my brain just couldn't compute with that, so I found it just a little bit of a struggle. Anyway, I persevered and rode it around for a few weeks, but I kind of quickly realised that this was not really going to be the bike that I would be touring to Portugal on with everybody else setting their sights on adventure bikes and sports bikes. I kind of knew straight away that I was not going to be able to keep up. You know, this thing, single cylinder, 500cc, sounded amazing, and was the right style of bike for me, stepping, you know, off of a scooter and onto a motorcycle. It kind of, I felt like I fitted it really nicely. It was a cafe racer conversion as well. Anyway, it wasn't going to be, so I thought, well, I'll just ride it around for a bit, get used to it, and then perhaps we'll sell it on and use the money to purchase something slightly more boring and modern. Anyway, a few days later, one of my neighbours knocked on the door, and he said, "Oh, Snappy, can I take your bike for a spin round the block?" I was like, "Well, yeah, of course you can. You know, you bend it, you mend it type thing." But you know, he's a motorcycle rider. He's got a motorcycle. Where this conversation is meandering towards. So off he went, and sort of half an hour went by, and I thought, oh, I hope he hadn't broken down. An hour went by, an hour and a half went by, and I was starting to get a bit concerned because I didn't even have his phone number, and I thought, Christ, what if he's come off somewhere? Anyway, a few minutes later after that, the rumble of a single cylinder came up the road, and he parked up with a big grin from ear to ear, and he said, oh, I love it, what are you going to do with it? So anyway, I said, well, I'm probably going to have to sell it because I really need something I can tour on sort of next summer with the scooter club. And then he said to me, well, do you want to swap it for my bike? So I said, yeah, alright. How do you want to do it? Go get your registration document, bring it round, and we sat there, did the transfer online, and now he's the proud owner of a Royal Enfield Bullet ES 500, and I'm the proud owner of a 2013 Suzuki SV 650S, and yeah, I reckon I can tour on this. So the ticket cost me the paltry sum of £2.99, and I've sort of in a way traded up, but I've kind of traded to what I need. Now it's cost me a little bit of money since, so I've had the handlebar conversion. So I went to a company called ABM in Germany and purchased the sort of sit up and beg style handlebars, because the clip-ons were literally going to break my back if I rode for more than sort of 45 minutes at a time. And the other sort of touring-y kind of thing that I've done to it is put some lowered foot pegs on, just because in the sports riding position I kind of feel that my knees were up around my neck somewhere, and this old boy got a little bit of cramp every time I got on it, so that had to be sorted out. I have managed to find a nice rack on Facebook selling page, so that is currently at the powder coaters, so I think I paid 20 odd quid for that. And you might notice, if you're an SV rider, that I've also purchased from Germany the touring windscreen, which just pushes, I think it's 8 centimetres taller, and it just pushes the wind up and over your shoulders quite nicely. So yeah, what else have I done? Not a lot really. I don't really want to be spending a fortune on this bike. Any spare cash, not that any of us ever have any, but any spare cash I do have, I will always rather put that back into my scooters. You know, that is what I do. But this is mighty fun. You know, there's no denying it. This is great. I mean, look, it's not the best of days today, but it sticks to the road like glue, and it's comfortable. It starts on the button. It's touch wood, reliable. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so going back, I've also extended the wing mirrors. I found that once I had done the handlebar conversion, all I could really see was my shoulders. So again, chatting to someone on Facebook with a 3D printer, and he knocked up a couple of little blocks so that I could extend the length of the or the view of the mirrors. Brilliant. That works a treat. I can now see reasonably well behind me. Ooh, I don't like that. Yeah. So anyway, having got the bug, and I cannot thank the guys at the classic competition company enough, I thought, well, if I'm going to have to kit myself out for motorbikey stuff, what else is out there? And then I stumbled across another website called Apex 66, and that's cool. You know, that has obviously got motorcycles available to enter the competitions for, but they also do lots of little useful accessories. So you know, you can grab a ticket for a waterproof jacket, which at this moment in time I kind of wish I'd entered a competition for, but never mind. You can, you know, there's crash helmets, there's, you know, light locks and D-locks and heated gloves, and oh my word, the list goes on. So anyway, I decided I'd enter a couple of little competitions on there. Gosh, that sounds right. I'd enter a couple of competitions on there, and just see. So the first competition I entered was for a Cardo intercom, dual Cardo intercom. So, you know, I think they're 350, 360 quid RRP. And I knew that I was going to be doing a lot of riding with Benji. So, yeah, I thought, well, it might be quite nice if we have an intercom. So again, I purchased one ticket. I think there were, I genuinely can't remember, but you know, a few hundred, like let's say 400 tickets up for grabs, 450 tickets, they got to make their profit. Really good odds. One ticket, £1, job done. It was my lucky day. I won the intercom. And then a few weeks later I spotted a ramp and a front wheel chock. Well, I kind of wanted a front wheel chock. I didn't need a ramp, I already had one, but I wanted a front wheel chock because with that, you know, you can leave the bike completely upright when it's parked up and locked away in the garage, rather than just leaning it over on the side stand. And it's surprising when it's upright how much space that creates in your garage. You know, when it's leaning over a bit, it kind of eats into a little bit of space. Anyway, I wanted one, so I entered the competition. Yeah, so I entered the competition, and lo and behold, I won that. Now, don't get me wrong, there are other competitions that I've entered and not won a thing. Of course there are, but I felt like a motorcycle, a Cardo, a chock and a ramp was a pretty good return for the amount that I was entering into the competitions. And let's not lose sight of the fact that my philosophy is very, very simple. I don't want to get hooked into gambling on websites. I buy one ticket, and my theory behind that is quite simple. If you buy two tickets, there's one thing that's absolutely guaranteed: one of your tickets is a loser. There's no, you know, you can talk about win percentages and all of that malarkey, but you know, if you buy 100 tickets, yeah, your odds might be better, but 99 of your tickets ain't winning. So I work on the basis that I'll buy one ticket, and only for a prize if I actually want it, or more importantly, if I need it. Anyway, I knew that Benji was going to buy himself a ramp, so the brand new Warrior ramp was donated. He's happy as Larry. He hasn't had to spend out a small fortune on a ramp for his van. As I said before, I've got one already, so it's a win-win. You know, I got the chop, he's got the ramp, and I think that was like $179 or $199 for that ticket, something like that. Anyway, not a huge amount of money, and definitely worth the punt. It was fun as well, you know. Yeah, so that's sort of pretty much me, until I went out on this a couple of weeks ago, and it was raining a fair bit harder than it has been during this little jaunt around the block. But basically I got soaked to the skin, and I haven't been, naughty me, but I haven't been riding with any sort of protective boots on. You know, when I ride my scooters I tend to wear DMs, which are not motorcycle boots, but you know, they're pretty protective, and you're riding around on something that, let's be honest, you know, people out there can brag about how fast their scooters go, but when you're in a big group, wherever you go, you're only as fast as the slowest scooter. So I reckon the average speed is about 50-55 mile an hour in our group. Yeah. So anyway, soaked as I was, I had a look back on the Apex site, and there was a pair of Revit Risco H2O motorcycle boots on there. I think I entered a competition for them, didn't win. A couple of weeks went by, and then last week another pair came up, the same model, or certainly a similar model, but they are Revit Riscos. So I bought a ticket for those, £1.50. I know 200 and something tickets available, good odds again, and I think I bought a ticket for some heated gloves at the same time, so let's say I spent £3 in total. Didn't win the heated gloves, disappointing, but hey ho, there'll be another opportunity, I'm sure, down the line somewhere. But I did win the motorcycle boots. So yeah, my little theory seems to be, or my little technique seems to be paying off quite nicely at the moment. Yeah, if I'm being truthful, I would say that there's probably, you know, out of the 4 or 5 competitions I've won, I've probably entered, well, since I settled, I suppose I've probably entered 30 or 40 competitions. So not shed loads, but you know, those prizes range quite a bit, from sort of £1 a ticket to maybe £3 a ticket, but that's a lot of prizes. I've kind of stopped entering for motorcycles, and that's where I say when I calm down a bit, because I think initially when I won the motorcycle I thought to myself stupidly, well, this is easy, I'll win another one, I'll win a better one, and really I should have just sat back with this SV650 and said, well, you know, this is great, it'll do. I don't need anything more than this. I've made it how I want it, and sort of happy days. So yeah, there you go. There's my theory of online competition betting, gambling, whatever you want to call it. Let's not get carried away. let's look at it as a little bit of fun. Let's buy ourselves one ticket so that you never guaranteed to be buying yourself a losing ticket. Stick to that theory and play the game. You know, it's you know, if you can afford to do it. I'm sure at some point in the not too distant future I'll stop altogether. There's you know, I'd like a new crash helmet now that I'm on a faster bike. I think a new crash helmet would be sensible. So I may well enter a couple of competitions, but you know, if I don't win anything, then I'm going to have to be more sensible and stop competing, save up and buy one. Anyway, that's my little ride around the block and my first vlog. I hope you liked it, and I look forward to spending hours trying to edit this ramble, and then seeing you next time. Please, if you like my first attempt at vlogging, please can you like or subscribe, either or. Where's he going? Yeah, like or subscribe. It's new, this channel. It needs a little bit of support. I need a little bit of motivation. I've got lots of ideas of things that I would like to do going forward. Quite varied stuff. I promise you that 99.999% of it will be scooter related. But I wanted to start off just with this little competition company idea, which seems to be pretty popular. So I think one of the lads in our scooter club won a scooter on the Aspire competition site, and it's really stunning, like pinky Series 1. It's a Richard Taylor tuned scooter, and it is lovely. You know, it is lovely. If it was in my collection, I would be pretty proud. But you know, that shows that these competition sites are genuine, and that if you do your homework and look at the Trustpilot reviews, and you can honestly say, yeah, that's one where people do actually win, and they're happy with the service that they are provided with, then why not? Beats betting on the horses.